Hello, everyone. I'm going to read from a statement. Just about 2 years, short of a decade, has passed since the tragic events of 9/11 have deeply wounded our beautiful city, traumatized all Americans, and then cast the entire globe into a violent tornado of death and destruction. The beautiful and iconic sights of our beloved New York, where the poetry of physics and the science of human ingenuity met in the architectural magnificence of the Twin Towers, are still marred by the deep scars and lasting wounds of a senseless and callous act of murderous violence. Ever since that tragic day, Muslims, Jews, Christians and Hindus, believers and agnostics, people of faith, and men and women of conscience have been pitted against each other in a bottomless abyss of despair, thinking themselves cast in an eternal and predestined war of desolation and destruction. Murder and mayhem, crimes and punishment. We have come here to tell you, it ain't so. It need not be so. It will not be so. Just in time before a decade of desperation has been wasted in our precious few years on this fragile and blessed earth, we have gathered here to bring you the good tidings of a magnificent civil rights uprising halfway around the globe in Iran, where our brothers and sisters, young and old, rich and poor, men and women at home or abroad, have begun a march towards justice and liberty, not too dissimilar to the arduous succession of marches that led from the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955 to first fruitful results of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then the Civil Rights Act of 1968, and ultimately the inauguration of President Barack Obama in January 2009. We have come here to bring you the good news that the Iranian civil rights movement, a magnificent march towards freedom and democracy, rule of law and respect for human, civil and women's rights, has started in earnest, and that you good people of New York ought to be witness to it. For what is happening in Iran will lead to a new moral map of the world, where no one will ever sit silent in face of murderous tyranny and disregard the terrorized life of innocent human beings of any faith or belief. The morning has broken. The morning has broken, and the auspicious commencement of Iranian civil rights movement has already altered the moral map of the region, and the indomitable democratic will of one nation in their massive millions have just given the whole world a new reason for hope. The moving pictures of young and old Iranians flooding colorfully into the landscape of their cities have forever altered the very notion of the Middle East. Tehran, the Iranian Big Apple, is now the ground zero of a civil rights movement that will leave no Muslim or Arab country, no political climate, culture or continent untouched. The Iranian Green Movement belongs to everyone. It belongs to the world, and the world is coming to its aid by being a witness to it. Today, in 100 cities around the globe, people of all creeds and all colors, all of God's children, in the immortal words of Martin Luther King Jr., black people and white people, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, Arabs and Muslims, Chinese, Russians, Americans, Europeans, Australians, they are all coming to recognize and see the reflection of their own highest dreams and their own most noble democratic aspirations in the struggle of their brothers and sisters in Iran. We have also gathered here to help safeguard and rescue the Green Movement from the brutal custodians of fear and fanaticism, and connect the Iranian uprising to human rights, civil rights and women's rights to similar struggles around the globe. With the commencement of this movement, we Iranians for the first time feel privileged, blessed, and entitled to share in the eternal words of Martin Luther King that we too will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. That with this movement, we Muslims too will be able to transform the jangling discord of our nations into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood and sisterhood of humankind. And that with this movement, we, the bruised and battered people around the globe, legal and illegal immigrants, and all refugees will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, or to go to jail together if we have to, and to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we too will be free one day, and that no force, no might is mightier than the collective will of a nation sick and tired of the banality of evil, that we will not be defeated, we will not be intimidated, that we will not be silenced, that we shall overcome. We are all here to tell the people in position of authority in the United States Congress to heed the judicious leadership of President Obama and refrain from trying in vain to fish from what may seem muddy waters to them. The grassroots and inborn Iranian civil rights movement is no muddy water. It is crystal clear, healthy, and beautiful. It needs no support from the U.S. Congress. Just don't hurt it. Only a judicious quotation from Martin Luther King Jr. or the prominent 19th century abolitionist Theodore Parker about the arc of the moral universe being long but bending toward justice will be more than generous from ordinary Americans to encourage and keep us on our path. No regime change, no democracy project, no American endowment for democracy, no economic sanctions, no blockade, and certainly no military strike. Please just sit back and relax and allow the indomitable spirit of a nation remind you of your own struggles for justice, for equality, for the rule of law, and for respect for human decency, for human rights, for civil rights, and for women's rights. Just watch and perhaps learn a few words of Persian and look at us closely, for we are inspired by your own and we are writing our own Bill of Rights.